Hello again. I've been aware for a while of a television actor called Idris Elba, although I don't think I've ever watched any programs he's been in. Last year his name cropped up in connection with knife crime, to which he is apparently strongly opposed. Then last month I saw a bit in the newspapers about his idea for preventing murders by stabbing, which was that kitchen knives should no longer have pointy ends but should instead be blunt and rounded at the tip. This struck me as completely loopy, although I'm sure that it was well meant. Most of us use a pointed end on kitchen knives not to stab up our enemies, but rather as impromptu screwdrivers, say, when we have a tiny screw on a battery compartment to undo, or for some other legitimate purpose, usually connected with cooking. The clue there is in the name of the implement. It's a kitchen knife. Banning kitchen knives of a certain type would be foolish because there are so many floating around that unless legislation was brought in to prohibit their ownership and the police began raiding every kitchen in the kingdom, such a law would have no effect. Then, too, it's perfectly possible to kill somebody with a sharp knife by slashing at their throat rather than jabbing with the pointed end at their torso. In the first couple of decades of the 20th century, open razors, sometimes known as cutthroat razors, were the most popular murder weapons in Britain. They were absolutely lethal. If you just took a swipe at someone's throat with them, you'd kill somebody instantly. The same thing applies to a sharp kitchen knife. Open razors, of course, had blunt ends, but they were none the less lethal for that. All in all, the suggestion that ordinary kitchen knives should be phased out or made illegal was a completely fat-headed idea. The Home Secretary did not say this, however. She said instead that she was considering the proposal from Idris Elba to require all kitchen knives to have rounded ends to make it harder for them to be used for stabbings. I quote, "We are looking at the point that Idris Elba has made. We will look at any issue that might make children safer." What she should have said, of course, was, "What an idiot. I've never heard anything so stupid in the whole course of my life." The reasons that she didn't are interesting. Skin colour plays a big part in this, of course. White people routinely denounce each other in the most blunt and offensive way imaginable, and nobody thinks anything of it. Politicians say rude things about actors, and actors say that politicians are stupid or incompetent. When a well-known black man comes up with a foolish scheme, though, no white person feels comfortable in saying that he's a fool. Instead, they tiptoe gingerly around him, as our Home Secretary did, and pretend that they are taking him or her seriously. This is horribly patronising, to say the least of it. Then, too, there's the unspoken background here, which is that young black men carry out a hugely disproportionate number of the stabbings seen in the streets of big cities in this country, and it's important to find excuses for this behaviour. By pretending that they would stop knifing each other if only kitchen knives had rounded ends is a perfect way of avoiding the topic of ethnicity and instead laying the blame on the manufacturers of kitchen knives. We saw much the same thing in the wake of the Southport tragedy when Amazon were blamed for selling a knife and Twitter for allowing a violent film to remain on its site of a man using a knife to attack a bishop. Until we ask ourselves why some people have the urge to knife each other, then it's unlikely that we'll ever see any fall in knife crime. Pretending that a well-known actor has a good idea when he blames those who manufacture and sell kitchen knives for the violence won't really help anybody. In the description to this video, I give a link to a news item which the Home Secretary's views can be seen.